If you don't have a stack of great sales assets available, you are leaving a tremendous amount of revenue on the table. Prospects these days, they want to look at your stuff, they want to go through and receive value from you, they want to learn about your backstory. And every day that you don't have these in your business, you are pretty much just leaving deals on the table that should be converting that will end up going to your competitors. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to create sales assets that accelerate your sales cycle, improve your close rate, and get way better engagement from your leads, and how to create these very, very quickly and making sure that they're potent. So it's actually targeting things that matter within the sales process so you can accelerate those deals. Before we jump in, quick context on me. Over the last few years, I've worked with over 400 plus clients, helping them specifically with things like paid ads, lead generation, content, their sales process, etc. And on this channel, I document all of the best strategies that are currently helping us grow companies, scale online, scale their paid ads, and make sure we're converting cold traffic at scale. These strategies typically work well with agencies, B2B, info products, anything that's high ticket, like for example, even a financial investment manager and things like that have used things like this. And typically the types of people, the types of revenue ranges that we want to deploy this type of stuff with is about 30K a month to about, 8 or 9 figures. In short, this is something that you definitely want to have if you're advanced, and if you're more on the beginner side, this is just something you want to keep in mind as you're scaling. Either way, I literally cannot stress to you enough how important these sales assets are these days, because there are just so many people in the marketplace. There's so many different offers. People are so good at advertising right now that your prospects are constantly getting hounded with people selling stuff, people trying to convince them to buy, and just to be honest, like 99% of people that you will be trying to sell to would have either bought from someone before, been burnt by someone before, or essentially just be really skeptical of you, your offers, why they should trust you, and why they should buy from you. So using strategies like the one I'm about to show you is way more important now than it was 10 years ago. And again, if you don't have this stuff up, it is absolutely killing you. For example, I have a client where we just deployed one of the strategies from this video, and he's literally getting hotter leads coming from paid ads than the ones he's getting from organic. So this guy has a really good organic audience, and we deployed one of the strategies from this video, and his sales rep literally texted me that all of the leads that were paying in full were coming from ads, and the leads from organic weren't even as good. And that is just a testament to the power of having great sales assets, because you can take someone who's a complete stranger and turn them into someone who's essentially ready to pay in full and buy from you straight away within about 72 hours. And for context, in that client scenario, all of his traffic that were coming from us was from Facebook ads on cold traffic. So again, this isn't something where you just need to monetize a massive audience. This is, we need to take a freezing cold stranger, indoctrinate them on everything to do with our business, and then sell to them. So if you don't take away anything else from this video except this, it's that you have to know that cold traffic absolutely loves sales assets. As soon as someone opts into your funnel, as soon as someone books a call, they go into quote unquote data gathering mode. So what does that mean? It means they might book a call. That doesn't necessarily mean they're ready to buy. That doesn't necessarily mean they're ready to show up to that call. That means I want more information. So what you want to do is, instead of just saying, hey, Mr. Prospect, go and find information from anywhere on the internet, we want to provide them with the things that they can basically go through in order to learn more about us. So basically what they're doing is actively figuring out, how are you going to solve my problem, and are you the right person to solve my problem? And when you have the right assets available, this does great, because you just basically give them that information on a silver platter. When you don't have these, it's absolutely terrible, and there's almost no buy-in from the leads that end up showing up to the calls, which leads to things like a low show rate, lower intent on the calls, longer sales cycle, and a lot of your sales calls essentially turning into education sessions rather than a sales conversation. And what I mean by that is, rather than them showing up to the call with a level of interest, they're showing up to the call with, hey, I want to hear more, rather than, hey, I want to buy this, I'm trying to figure out if I should buy it. You want to be having a purchasing conversation. Now, the caveat to this is that if you have an offer that the prospects don't really care about, you're not really solving a meaningful problem, you will not get any leads to consume sales assets. It's kind of like that classic saying in direct response that, if you think people won't read long direct response copy, ask a cancer patient if they would read a full brochure about a potential new cure for cancer. What that means is, when you're solving something that's really painful and you give people a ton of information, they will go through it. However, if you have an offer that's a little bit more competitive, it's a little bit less of a serious problem for the prospect, you're going to have a bit of a tougher time getting that stuff in front of them and getting them to consume it. And what you need to do is really work on your messaging, really work on your positioning, and really stress how important your specific offer is. Now, that's going to make it a little bit more expensive to convert these leads, because they require that extra bit of education. But what you can do is just work on this over time. But to be honest, If you're in that situation where leads just aren't interested in your offer, that is a much bigger problem than not having any sales assets. And I strongly recommend you check out some of the offer trainings on the channel and some of the messaging trainings on the channel to try and fix that. In terms of a fundamental, what you need to know is, what is a sales asset? What is the actual basis level 1 fundamental? At its core, a sales asset is just a resource that is going to accelerate the sales process. So what you want to think of, I need to convince this person that I'm a trustworthy, competent person, and that I will do what I say I'm going to do. So I'm a person of integrity. So when you view it that way, a sales asset can actually be a lot of things, but at the core of the messaging of a sales asset, you need to be thinking about objections, results, frequently asked questions, common misconceptions, and making your prospects really aware of exactly why your offer is the solution to their problems in a very, very logical way when you're selling high ticket offers. So in terms of why you need them, number 1, nobody trusts you. Number 2, you need 7 to 20 touch points to close a cold prospects. Number 3, 99% of B2B and high ticket prospects have been burned. Number 4, so here's an experiment. Think about the last thing that you bought for between $3,000 and $15,000, or even $3,000 plus. Did you buy that after watching one ad and then going directly to a sales call? Or did you buy that by watching someone's YouTube channel for like 5 to 10 hours? I would probably bet that you watched a bunch of their YouTube videos, that you went through a bunch of their assets, looked at their case studies, and then eventually when you were ready to purchase from that person, you ended up booking the call. Now that's not me saying that you need to become a YouTuber and you need to start focusing on making all these YouTube videos, although that is helpful and YouTube videos do act as sales assets. What that means is you need to create enough content in the form of sales assets to be able to put in front of prospects to condense that time. So if you don't even have 5 to 10 hours available of content in general, how are people going to get that much time with you? It's just not going to happen, and they're not going to buy, and your sales cycle is going to take forever, and you're going to have to use your manual labor and your manual time to actually get that amount of face time with the customer, rather than just doing it via video or document. So in terms of what a sales asset could be, like I said, it could be something like a YouTube video, it can be short form content, it can be emails, it can be PDF breakdowns or lead magnets, and it can be personalized Loom and selfie videos. And these are just 5 or 6 examples of things that you can potentially use. What I would recommend is, rather than looking at it and think, okay, well, I'm going to make some YouTube videos, what I would do is I would create the messaging first and then distribute that messaging across each format of sales asset. So for example, you're going to have some people that they're just naturally going to bias towards watching YouTube videos. And then you'll have other people that say, I don't really watch videos, but I read a bunch of stuff. I'm constantly reading. So it might be better to share a document with them. So you have YouTube, you have documents, and then other people, they might just be people that doom scroll all the time, because 99% of people are, and you might be able to just reach them and get some touch points via short form. So again, before you think of that, what you need to do is, how am I going to create this messaging? So the best way to do that is to essentially get all of your sales call transcripts through a software like Read AI or Fireflies or something like that, and upload all of the call transcripts with your ideal prospects to a Claude AI project. So put them in the actual project in Claude AI. What that's going to do is it's going to train the AI model to basically know exactly who you're speaking to, and you can ask questions like, what are the most commonly occurring objections? What are the most commonly occurring misconceptions? What are the most commonly asked questions that get asked? What are the most commonly occurring prior states of the prospect, meaning what's their current state before they work with us, and what are the reasons they're getting on this phone call? And if you ask for 10 objections, 10 common misconceptions, 10 commonly asked questions, and 10 examples of prior states of the prospects, the AI will just spit that out to you, and you now have unlimited ideas for videos to make, PDFs to make, YouTube videos to make, etc. Once you have the ideas, you want to turn these into emails for pre-call assets, and also for your newsletter. You want to turn them into short form content. You want to turn these into YouTube videos. You want to turn these into tweets and LinkedIn posts. And that should basically determine your entire content strategy. So rather than making a content strategy that's focused on getting a bunch of views, you want to make a content strategy that makes complete sense to send to people that are within your sales process. You want to make YouTube videos that, if a prospect was looking on your channel, they'd be thinking, oh shit, I actually really want to know that. And then they watch that before their sales call, because again, they will be doing their due diligence and they will be watching your videos. So you don't need to get famous, but you do need to have content available. As a bonus tip, something that you can do is segment your sales assets by objection and avatar. So you might have a type of person that commonly gets on your sales calls. There might be 3 to 5 different quote unquote avatars. You might have maybe someone who's not currently doing your mechanism yet. Like for example, you might have someone that's not currently doing Google Ads. You might have someone that's plateaued with their Google Ads system. You might have someone that's got an agency that completely sucks. That's just 3 examples. So what you'll have is, you might have an avatar that's not doing it yet, an avatar that's struggling to scale, and an avatar that's getting screwed over. And you can segment your sales assets by those avatars. So as an example, someone with an agency that's burning them right now, You might be able to have a document or a YouTube video about how you're different from other agencies. If you have someone that's not yet getting started with your mechanism yet, you might have a document about here's the fastest way to get started with X, Y, and Z. If you have someone that's struggling to scale, you might have a document about here's all the potential constraints inside your business, here's how we can solve them, here's how we've solved them in the past. And like I said, if you segment them out, you can put them in something like a Google Sheet or even in a Miro board. Your sales reps can know, okay, this lead, they're not yet started with Google Ads, I'm gonna send them this guide specifically, copy and paste it from the sheet, and boom, you're good to go. And it's things like that where you can just make one small action. You can create this, document this sales asset one singular time, put it in a sheet so your sales reps can access it. And then basically you have something that's so much more potent. It is literally 10 times more potent than just sending them 47 Calendly reminders before a call. You have something that's actually going to hit the prospect exactly where they're at and accelerate that sales process, which is the whole name of the game in 2025. Now, once you have these sales assets in place, so you've got some YouTube videos, you've got all your short form pieces of content, you've got all your emails, all your documents, etc. You're going to need to be able to distribute the sales assets so you can get them in front of the prospects as many times as humanly possible before the sales call. So here are the top 6 ways to distribute sales assets. The first one is probably the best one that we've been using recently, and that's to retarget people with ads who are within the sales process. So we create a dynamically populating audience in the Facebook Ad Manager, and we retarget them with content after they hit a schedule, after they become a lead, etc., etc. This is something that works insanely well. It's very, very cheap because of the audience sizes, and it gives you a ridiculous amount of touch points before the call. It's something that it's probably the best thing I've ever seen, to be honest, in terms of how well this works. Number 2 is to set up a 30-day email flow with 1 email per day that basically sends the leads the assets, sends them your best content, and links out to in-depth guides. So across those 30 days, you should have 1 email per major objection, major common misconception, that you basically get on a recurring basis. People will only ever buy and they'll only ever book calls when they are ready and when they have all their objections solved. So by having that email flow, it just gives you a really strong level of variance between being able to handle one idea at a time and then basically having that automated. So every single lead that comes through, whether it's through a lead magnet or through booking a call, they basically get put through that sequence. Number 3 is to email every lead that comes through your funnel 4 times within 60 minutes of them downloading any guide or booking any call. These 4 emails need to include things like what you do, who you are and who you help, your best case studies, and your best assets. So meaning your best YouTube videos, your best documents, etc. The reason we do this is because number 1, the engagement rate on those emails is very, very high. You can expect open rates of 50, 60% at least. And I've seen click rates of 10 to 12% on those emails, which is quite high. The reason is because typically after someone downloads a guide or typically after someone engages with your stuff, that is going to be the point where they're most quote unquote hot. So what this does is it effectively gives you like a speed to lead type situation, except you're doing it automatically rather than having to call them. Obviously you'd want to call them as well, but if you can send them a bunch of emails too, they do engage with them, they do read them, they will click, they will download. The 4th way to distribute sales assets is going to be to manually text them to leads. Like I said before, if you have all your sales assets set up in some sort of sheet or some sort of Miro board, you can have your reps text out those sales assets specifically to leads who those assets might be applicable to. So for example, if someone's been burned by an agency before, you might send them a case study of how you helped someone else that was in their exact same situation. Number 5 is a pretty similar one to number 4, except instead of just texting them the sales asset, you can send a voice note or a selfie video or even a Loom basically saying, hey, I saw you were in this current situation, or I know we discussed that you were in this current situation a few weeks ago in that call. What I wanted to do was send over this specific document that basically runs you through exactly how we've solved this for other people in the past. I think this will really help your situation. Something like that, that extra touch of the voice or the face cam or the selfie video or whatever, gives you that extra little bit of personability, and that will increase your take rates on those sales assets and make sure people actually watch them. And the 6th way to distribute sales assets is to have 3 pages. So you want to have a wins page, you want to have a case study interview page, and you want to have a resources page on your site. So what does that mean? The wins page is basically going to be a collation of all of your Slack screenshots, your texts from customers, all of your, wherever you host all your customer wins, you want to just put them on one page so people can get that infinite scroll effect. Then you want to have a case study interview page, which is a similar thing where, you want to have that infinite scroll of case study social proof. And you just want to have that to be separated from all the screenshots because it's just a bit of a different thing. And the more pages you have in terms of sales assets, the better. And then you want to have a resources page. So the resources page is one that's just going to host all of your best documents, all of your best guides, etc. And this, again, is really just doing everything you can to be able to give these leads all the information they need to make an informed decision, which is ideally purchasing from you and working with you. And you just want to make it as easy as possible. You want to make it so they can click around and just see all the shit that they need to see in order to buy. You don't want to have to make them go and Google you. You don't want them looking on Reddit, especially some of you I know, you don't want them looking on Reddit. So the short version is you just want to give them every piece of information that they need in the most consumable and easy way possible, just to make sure that they don't have to go and Google you. They don't have to go and look up, hey, is XYZ company a scam? And then see a Reddit thread about, some non-customer just complaining about you for no reason. You want to give them that stuff up front so that they don't even have to do anything. They can just read your emails. Because again, when you get all this stuff implemented, it works so damn well. You're going to convert so many more leads than what you currently are. You're just going to be able to scale so much easier rather than having to fight tooth and nail for every single deal. As an example, we just took a company from 100K a month to 200K a month in about 4 months, and I made a full video breakdown. I'll leave the link to it. You can watch that one next. That's pretty much all I have for this video. What I want you to do now is actually go out and implement this. This doesn't need to be a 45-minute long video. This just needs to be something where you understand, okay, shit, I need YouTube videos, I need documents, I need short form videos, I need emails, and that's the stuff I need. All you need to do is go do that thing with Claude AI, upload all your call transcripts, get all the ideas for the objections, create the content in all those different formats. You can probably use AI for that as well, and just understand exactly what you need to do. Then go out and implement it, which I know you will, as all of the subscribers of this channel and everyone who watches this channel is extremely rich, extremely wealthy, and extremely big action takers. So good job to you for that. And I'll see you in the next video. Feel free to check out that case study after this one. Catch you in the next one.